All right, I'm joined now by Fabio Sacoman, who is Vice President and Head of Learning and Development for Expedia Group. Fabio, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks, Andy. Thanks, everyone. Let's rock and roll right now, Andy.
Let's rock and roll. I'm excited to
Good.
have you here. We haven't had a chance to really talk much before this, so this will be an opportunity for me to get to know you as well as for people to hear from some of the things that you've accomplished. I know you have a very impressive career working in a few different organizations and now leading L&D at Expedia Group. I wonder if you could start by sharing a little bit of your background and how did you get into the learning and development space specifically?
Absolutely. In one word, my passion. That's my passion, right? That's something that happened throughout my career that they'll just help me to land into the L&D space, right? By my background, if you go there, okay, what's your education there? I'm a chemical engineer, so don't ask me
Mm,
anything about chemistry, right?
okay.
But that helped me a lot there back in Brazil to really understand processes and sequencing and make those rational decisions behind that and
Mm,
structure process and move forward. And of course, that was when I that opened the door for to start my career at General Electric, right, at GE.
mm,
Because I joined there as in the Six Sigma area, so heavily dependent on processes and statistics and things like this. And that's where I would say that was my very first contact with L&D, right? Through
mm.
the Crotonville is like considered Mecca or the epicenter of learning throughout in the world in the corporate world, right? And that's, as I said, and it was my passion, right? I
Mm.
saw that I want to do something related to that. I don't know exactly what, but
Yeah.
I really love to see how I can help people to grow and of course help business to succeed. So that's my mind. After that, 3 to 4 years at GE at General Electric, I had an opportunity to start my own business. So actually, the founder of the consulting company that I worked for was my boss, my manager there. Hey,
Mm.
Alberto, how are you? Yeah, I'm talking about you right now. And he found that company, and after 1 month, he said, "Hey, would you like to join me here and start our own business? Because that's our passion. Going to provide trainings and learning throughout in Brazil, but also South America, and who knows
Mm.
where we're going to start." So that was my when I intentionally, right, I made this shift from working for a big corporate company to, okay, how can I help those companies and those
Mm.
folks, those people there with my own startup, if you will. So I was a partner there, and I stayed there for 18 years, doing
Wow.
everything, right? From talking with CEOs and HR leaders and process leaders, whatever we call them, to okay, do my internal things and uh, uh, um, helping structure my company, right? And
Mm.
my passion by design and delivery, so I can experience everything related to not L&D, but talent management, talent development, and all the HR
Okay.
functions. 18 years later, I had this opportunity to challenge myself again, right? So going from GE to EG, Expedia Group, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I had this chance to apply for this job and move from this company and also move the continent. So I left Brazil and then I arrived here in the UK with my family, and now 3 years working for Expedia Group. I started as senior director for we call learning store,
Mm.
meaning what do we do there is facilitation and design, right? And then after that, I have now the opportunity to lead the whole team, the whole learning
Mm.
team as part of our talent, learning, culture team. So that's my trajectory. And again, it's all about the passion, for the
Yeah.
results, make a business grow, and also, of course, people grow as well.
Wow. Such an interesting story, and I appreciate how I know there's a lot of other things in there that you shared that so quickly, and started out as a chemist. I didn't realize that. When I was in high school going into college, I was really big on, very good at calculus and physics, but I was terrible with chemistry. And I tried to get into an engineering major in college, and I ran into a chemistry class I just couldn't get past for some reason, even though I didn't even need chemistry for it. So that's always been a struggling point. Luckily, I don't need any chemistry today. We kind of found our different ways into this space.
Exactly. And now I realize chemistry was easy, right? Now we
Mm.
really have all those challenges, but I mean, again, I keep talking using this word passion for what we
Mm.
and how we can make an impact.
So I'm curious. I know we have a lot of listeners who work in talent development, different roles inside organizations. Many of them dream of maybe starting their own company or running their own business on the side one day. And we see some people that leave and go out to start their own consultancy. I don't often see someone who has done that successfully for, like you said, 18 years and then coming back into the corporate world. I'm curious, why did you decide to make that move and take on this challenge at Expedia Group?
It's a great question. So just share a little bit about my career, the moment of my career. When I left G, I was around 25 to 26 years old. And it was literally like a startup and
Mm.
risks. I measured the risk there, say, yeah,
Mm.
I would try to do that based on
Sure.
both by the business opportunity, the trust that I had in my partner there, but also the passion the mission that I had. So that was my inspiration at that point. 18 years later, we grew the business. I mean, 50 folks working for the company
Mm.
around like a revenue around $3 to $4 million per year. Very structured, and I mean,
Mm.
at least 100 clients per year, right?
Mm.
Regular clients. The point, though, Andy, in answering your question right now, I need to set up this context, right? In my mind, I was like an important part of the ecosystem. But my job was, or my team's job, or the way that I saw the partnership was, okay, I will go to the customer, I will make the magic. So, for instance, a training or deliver
Yeah.
something. By the end of the week, they're gonna say, "Oh, we love you. It was great." I say, "Okay, I love you too. Bye. It's your problem right now."
Yeah.
I don't see myself building the culture or changing the ecosystem the
Mm.
way that I could. And
Yep.
and remember, I started this career when I was 25, 26 years old. So I was in the
Yeah.
beginning of my career when I decided that.
Right.
And with this opportunity, I have here the opportunity to experience to build that. So to
Hmm.
influence my senior leaders, my SVPs, the whole company, right, in a way that will get the best of them, but also deliver the culture and the results, right, that we
Hmm.
that Expedia has. So that was my
Yeah.
personal aspiration. Hope it makes sense.
That makes sense completely. I mean, I've been facilitating workshops for the last decade, starting through a consulting company I work for and then on my own. And it's fun, but I don't always get to see the long-term, cultural shift that's happening that you get to see when you're working inside of an organization. The other thing I wanted to ask that stuck out for me as I was looking at your experience, particularly with that consulting organization you helped start on LinkedIn under your first role, going all the way back to 2004 to 7, you put on there delivered 180 plus days a year of training and team facilitation and business and process excellence, which I thought was amazing. A lot of people have been there, especially early in their careers, getting into L&D, doing a lot of training and facilitation. When you think back across that, I'm sure you facilitated hundreds and hundreds of workshops now. What are some really key things that you learned about facilitation or running a great workshop, or like how to make learning stick when you're creating these types of programs?
That's a great question. Thanks a lot for asking that. That's how I try to coach my team as well. My biggest learning was or is it's not about me.
Hmm.
Meditation is not about me. It's not about me going that as me, whatever topic it is, leadership development or some specific functional skills. It's not about showing what I know. It's about what's the impact that I can make to my audience. And I say that and in the point that at the beginning of my career, as a consultant for delivering all those workshops, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna put together like 50 slides here, and I'm gonna make best explanation ever and see what happens and make some exercises. It's especially when it's more statistics and process
Yeah.
that you
Yeah.
you lead the show, right?
Yep.
Uh, at some point, I realized that it's not about that. It's not about me saying, "Oh, this guy's great. He knows a lot." It's about what my audience will do with that.
Hmm.
How can I change their mindset? How can I give them something that they're going to do differently when they leave the workshop? It sounds obvious, sounds like, oh yeah, for sure, you do that. That changed the narrative. I'm not concerned about putting everything that I know in a PowerPoint deck. It's more about, okay, maybe 2 slides, 3 slides, or maybe no slides, but a good flip chart, a good conversation, and structure ways to deliver that. That would be more effective. Maybe I can go to my clients and say, you know what? Instead of this 5-day session, you need 1 day session, and then here's some drops that you can embed in flow of your work.
Mm.
That changed the narrative for me. So when I saw that number, when I see that number, for me, it's like I had the chance to experience that and really see the impact of changing my mindset first. And I've seen some colleagues, and again, not bad intention, right? In a position that I own the microphone. I know
That's
everything.
right.
Everybody's listening to me, right? It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's the impact that you make. Long answer for a great question, but a lot that we can unpack from that, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I've totally been there. I mean, facilitation at its essence is about creating a conversation, right? And helping people learn from each other. And I think sometimes we get that microphone in our hand and you said, oh, I hold the microphone, I've got to talk more. And it's not even as much about ego for most people, like, look at me. It's just that I need to prove that I'm providing value because I've been put in front of this room and I've got to prove myself. But really, it's just about starting a great conversation and getting info out of people and helping them learn from each other and discover things for themselves rather than just lecturing people all the time.
I love that. I love that, and especially when you say. And I had this conversation this morning doing with some skip level from my team. This person mentioned, okay, I want to develop some consulting skills. What do I need to do, etc. My advice there, it's connected to what you were saying right now, right? Was try to silence the voice that you have in your head that you need to prove yourself all the time
Mm,
bringing all your expertise to the table. In our role as L&D, right, the way that I see that and is start really saying, let me be curious, let me ask questions, let me understand the problem first. And maybe that session that you are preparing, you don't need that session because you don't have a problem, because you help your internal client, your executive to understand that maybe it's just a matter of having a one-on-one with someone that you have a problem instead of organize all those workshops. So the
mhm,
facilitation part is the end of this process if we start that really being curious and asking questions and prevent ourselves to just show up saying, oh, I have a perfect solution here. It's my
mhm,
workshop, right? And that specific scenario here with my team, we do have our product. But we are not measured by the number of trains that we deliver. We
mhm.
don't make money by that, right?
Right.
But when I was a consultant, when I had my own business, and it was a discussion with my partners at that time, sometimes I will gain clients and I will sustain those clients over time if I go to them and say, you don't need a workshop. You don't need that.
Hmm.
Let's have a conversation first. Let's understand. And after that, the conversation is like, yeah, I told you, you don't need this workshop. My
Right.
role here was like a commercial conversation here. You are not paying anything for me, but I owe you this because I value the long-term
Yeah.
relationship. Another example connected to what you asked me about uh,
Yeah.
lessons learned about facilitation.
It's the same in internal L&D roles, right? The people I talk to who have gotten experience, become more strategic, learn that over time you get these requests for training, but oftentimes training is not always the answer, right? You come back and you ask questions and you do an assessment of the situation and say, you actually don't need a workshop. You need to have a conversation with this one or two people or have a coaching conversation, whatever it may be, shift the incentives, but it's not always that as much as we want to create training programs, it's not always the answer.
Exactly. And beauty on that, there's another element there for our L&D folks, right? Need to understand where you belong into this ecosystem that you are. An example of that, L&D, are you part of the business? Are you part of the HR function? So if that, what's your operating model?
Mm,
So do you need your metrics or metrics of success, they are measured by number of workshops, or if they are aligned to what your people strategy is. So depending on how this configuration is, that our role will be different. We're gonna elevate, and it'll be okay to say, no, it's not about this workshop. Let's keep on this track because those are the critical skills that will help us doing this. It's not L&D doing this, it's HR, it's us
Mhm.
as people who are doing it. Another example of what we can, how we can provide and add value to this ecosystem.
Right. So you take this role at Expedia Group, moving over to the UK. It's a global company with multiple digital properties, so to speak, different type of organizations or companies within the larger organization. And I know you're big on creating a learning culture. So and seeing and one of the goals for this, it sounds like, is to be involved in seeing cultural transformation all the way through versus just, quick hit workshops. So what is your approach to creating a learning culture, and what does that look like so far for you?
Absolutely. The premise is we need to involve everyone. Everyone has a voice, everyone has a seat on the table to talk about culture, to talk about the learning culture that you mentioned, right? And of course, how we do that is involving them in the right conversation at the right time by different levels. So yes, it's top down, yes, but at the same time as top down, we need to understand how the how the sequence of conversations are connected, right? So an example of this, having the CEO have our executives as part of the conversation is something that we do. Then we connect with the that layer that will transform words in actions, and then we have them with us. That's one, I would say, the concept that we use, that I approach as well. The second thing is to show that culture that we live by, by actions, not words. So we embed that into, of course, in our space here, learning development, trainings, workshops, whatever we call, but also how we embed that in our meetings, how we embed that in our other HR processes, how they gonna see the culture that we learning culture into, okay, how we evaluate people here at the end of the year, how we embed that in the practices that we have when we are leading, as I said, right, meetings. So that's the organic approach led by learning, but activated by leaders. That's, I would say, it's the most effective way that I've seen in the companies, and that's what we do here at Expedia.
Right. So a lot of it comes down to, and I've thought about this a lot. Culture is, well, it comes from everywhere. It's really created by the leaders across the organization and how they're speaking to and managing their people. And so you've got to really be thoughtful about how you are speaking and training your leaders, or what sort of leadership development you're putting together. So I imagine that's a big part of the development for them.
Absolutely, it's part of that as well. But it's interesting that your question, because the exercise of talking about about culture is a leadership development action. You know what I mean? It's not
Mm,
like a workshop, it's not like a training that we don't
yeah.
teach them how to do this. But the fact that we put this group together and we discuss that and we say, okay, how are we gonna deliver or design our values that will represent our the way that we want Expedia to run right now and the future, that is valuable, right? The conversation itself, that's what we put together and try to do as well.
Okay, and I was going to ask you, sort of related to that, how do you make sure that your learning initiatives are aligned with both company goals as well as what individuals need or want, right? So that they can grow in their careers.
Yeah, that's the teaser here, the headline is the pull and push strategy, right?
Mm,
When I say push strategy, it's basically activated by the business in partnership with our HR function, right? So I mean, just as a possibility as we do here, our learning development is not like it doesn't exist in a vacuum, in isolation. We are COE for our HRBPs. So everything related to people strategy, they go to the HRBPs and they say, okay, great. what is the skill set that we need today and what the skill set that we need for tomorrow. And then that's where my team will guarantee that we have the right vehicles to help our teams to gain those skills, right? Practice those skills and be ready for today and I say for the future. That's the push. So we're gonna say, hey folks, hey Fabio, to do your job, that's what's requested, and that's how we are providing you. That's the push.
Mm.
The pull is okay, now we need to provide you a set of, and that's what we get from engagement surveys. We get that from, of course, our HRBPs working with leaders and our employees. What are your career aspirations? What do you need to do that? So in that conversation, we provide trainings that people will be invited to consume our products, right? So some self-led modules or some training, some workshops that they're going to say, hey, I want to attend that. It's not mandatory, but I'm going to attend because it's connected to what I have in my mind. An example of that. Think about this. Is one very popular example. Storytelling, right?
Hmm.
Storytelling. Okay, how storytelling will impact the bottom line? I mean, if it's commercial, I would say there is some connection there. But for instance, for someone in IT or HR or finance, it's not about that. It will not impact the way that
Mm.
I work, but will help me when I need to present to senior leaders to be very crisp on my message. So it's more like career led versus skill needed to perform and have this impact on the bottom line. That's an example of the pull. So we have this
Mm.
platform and possibilities that they can get, consume, and move forward. That's the strategy, right? So
Mm.
it's a balance. If we balance this strategy, I think we can serve both, right? Business, what you need to do
Hmm.
and what you need to accomplish that, but also career opportunities, career development, and personal development.
Yeah. And what do you do to make sure you're really connected with the business and aligned with the company strategy, goals, values, so that you know that you are ingraining those into what you're doing from a learning perspective and also hopefully being seen as a strategic part of the business?
Yeah, uh, through our HRBPs.
Okay.
That's the model. If and I have experiences not here but other with other companies, other clients that the learning function was trying to show value or add value by design those strategies or talking about
Mhm.
hot topics that are not connected to business and they had no idea what the business needs are, right? Or
Mm.
didn't have visibility to what was coming. So here in Expedia, what do we do? And in other companies that I've seen success in this strategy, you need to understand your people strategy first. And that's in our case here, the HRBPs they do. So they have those conversations with the business leaders, right? They understand that and they come to us and say, hey, this is what I need from you learning to make that happen. And
Mm.
then we have this strategic conversation. Understand, let me understand the why. Let me understand what we're doing here and timeline, how and when we're going to see the impact. So we hold those strategic conversations within our HR function. And then, of course, we connect that back to the business. Without that, Andy, that's where I see the struggle, right? I'll say, I need to prove my value. Why do you exist? Why do I need
Mm.
to invest money there if it's isolated to the broader people strategy versus like just L&D strategy?
Right. And you work for a global organization. I think you have people in different countries, different regions, different continents. How do you think about addressing the different cultural needs and translating learning to different cultures where people may operate differently?
Absolutely. Uh, Pareto, or the 80-20%
Yeah.
approach, right? 80% core common, and the 20%, that's how my design team and my faculty team, my facilitators, they customize to deliver in those regions, right? So the core and common, 80%, we guarantee that we are talking about the same things, the common frameworks, whatever it is, but then we have this level of customization, especially what you said, right? Regions and how that will land into those regions, and the best way to do that in terms of content itself, but also the ways to facilitate those sessions. That's the one of our design principles that we use here when we're providing those experiences across the globe.
Okay. And while we're talking about cultural differences, I'd be curious to hear from you on a personal level. What sort of cultural differences have you noticed? What has the experience been like moving to the UK after living, I think, most of your life in Brazil before that? I know you've probably been doing a lot of business with maybe with global companies, but it's different when you move and you're actually living in a different country on a different continent in a different language. What has that experience been like?
Absolutely. That's, I mean, it's great. It's great. It's for me as a L&D professional, right, or
Mm.
a HR professional. This experience helps me to keep grounded on I'm always learning. It's
Hmm.
progress over perfection. Uh, how you know, it's challenging your comfort zone. You don't have the same experience that in Spain, right?
Yeah.
This challenge the same your comfort zone. Here in the office, and Expedia is a really global company. 50% of the office we are made of international folks, right?
Mm.
Or outside the UK. My UK colleagues and some British friends that I have already. Uh, I mean, they are open for different experiences, right? So
Yeah.
I see that as a superpower that we have here in Expedia. That's the way that I see this experience for myself. But again, it's a great exercise to test your vulnerabilities. It's a great exercise to test that you're really open for new experiences and that you learn throughout the way. And when you oh my God, the magic is happening, and then
Yeah.
you don't know how it was in the past. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my experience, Andy.
Yeah, that's cool. And it gives you more empathy for what others in the organization are experiencing, working and living in different cultures as well. Not to mention, Expedia is all about enabling travel for people all over the world, right? And experiencing a lot of different cultures, which is really cool as well. We touched on leadership a little bit earlier, and I was curious, what is your philosophy and has been your approach to leadership development and helping leaders grow and develop them so they can become more effective in their roles?
Fantastic. I would say three things, right? Three principles, as you said, right? The first one, I would say, leaders will lead, not HR will lead, right? There is something here that, and again, it's not Expedia, but across the globe that, oh, this is an HR thing. Here's my thing to manage people there. It's your responsibility to do that. So hold leaders accountable for that is one of the premises, meaning when they are in a workshop, they are present. They are leading sessions to our teams. So it's part of our leadership development philosophy to have leaders teaching the other leaders. That's and executing and running all those HR processes that we have across. That's one premise that we have there. When we're designing, we design tools. We design tools to help people to provide clarity, to provide support, and accountability. So when I design something here for our leaders, and I say, hey, is this provide clarity to your teams so they know what to expect. And with that comes all those things that we need to provide in terms of support to make things happen. And at the same time is now with your team's responsibility to go and get that, right? So those are the three things embedded on this principle. And the third one that we use when we think about the leadership development here is uh, you lead. It's a huge responsibility to do that. It's not like something extra to your work. It's something that we really believe that we need strong leaders to enable the culture. So uh, that's something that we put in our programs, that we stress when we put some content there, that you are we are aiming you, but our target is to achieve everybody in the company. So
Mm.
that's how we phrase that and how we stress the importance of these elements. Hope it makes sense, and it could be
Yeah.
like going details, but these are the main topics there.
And I saw in a previous interview you did something you were big on was authenticity and leadership. And I think that's something that's becoming more important, that I've been thinking a lot about as well. When I ask people about what they want from leaders, I hear more and more, I want my leader to be human. I want them to be more authentic and real and more communication. What are you seeing there, and how do you help your leaders become more authentic?
That's a great that's the foundation of those principles there, right?
Mm,
And just be yourself. Just be a human being talking with another human being, right? Knowing that it's a huge responsibility that your your role here is not to make people happy necessarily. Happiness is like an internal process, but it's your role to provide clarity, support, and accountability, right? And have those real conversations, right? That's the authenticity piece there. Understand that your role and your responsibility throughout this process. So authenticity for me is key, right? That's how we connect as in a human being level, right? Knowing that I have different roles from other folks.
And how do you think about, you talked about your philosophy to leadership development and the approach to developing leaders. Do you believe primarily in putting formal leadership development programs together and having people go through? Is it like cohort based, or how do you think about developing leaders to make sure that they're learning what they need to learn to become great leaders?
That's a $1 million question. Oh my gosh. It's balanced approach. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that uh, we need to have like micro interventions, micro learning, the flow of work, which works, but
Hmm.
not necessarily just that. Or big events that bring all this, oh my God, let's go and get it, and then you forget everything the next week. I think it's a balanced approach when you design the full experience. I truly believe that we need to think about a continuity and integration. What do I mean by integration, right? And then again, I go back to not learning and development, but the overall people strategy that our companies have. When I go there and do all those things like uh, programs or workshops or community-based learning, whatever we call, right? How do we measure that? How we hold people accountable? How do we guarantee that people are going to say, oh, what I'm doing here is the right way and it's being recognized by the company? So talent management is important in this process, right? Talent management, how we reward people, how we think about our compensation, right? When we see those elements, so all those different disciplines that happen we have in the HR, they need to go together. That's my take. That's how I as L&D leader, but as one of the HR leaders, I need to guarantee that happens. Without that, it would be like great programs, great learning, but not sustainable. It is not impacting the culture that we want to see in the long term. And remember, when we started this conversation, it was about that, right? It was about, okay, I'm here to create a culture, not just check the box and
Hmm.
then programs, right? That's again, that's connect to my main goal here, but also philosophy that I have, and of course my other HR leaders have here at Expedia.
Right. The last thing I want to ask you about is career development, and how do you help people at Expedia Group think about where they can go and how they can develop and grow in their careers? Do you think about things like talent mobility or giving people different options? What are people looking for? I'm just curious how you approach career development.
Absolutely. Yes, Expedia we have like our processes here, and we are developing new stuff, but all connected to my personal approach, career talent mobility. I envision my team like I have a joke here with my peers where I say, hey, my peers here, my goal by the end of the year is that each one of you, you're gonna want to have to recruit at least 5 folks from my team.
Hmm.
That's my mindset, right? And of course, it's connected to career mobility. You can
Yeah.
prepare people for other positions, but the point is align that I provide the right level of experiences for my team. So I try to disconnect with promotions. I try to disconnect with positions, right? Titles. And I say, okay, as L&D, what are the type of experience that will make you more prepared for the future for any role that opens here in L&D and maybe HR. So facilitation, design, strategic thinking, consulting skills, learning management, whatever we put there. How can I provide them opportunities to do their role, to do their job, but also experience those type of things? Could be in
Mm.
project gigs, could be like in different projects that they are part of. Our all hands, that's more like let's share, let's learn together. Some lab sessions that I do with my team. That's the way that I push that, knowing that, and remember some learning, some leadership principles, right? This isn't the way that I help people. The way that I set up the case is not about promotion. Promotion can come, but it's a combination of three things. Are you performing? Are you ready? And do we have a business need? So this is the combination. I cannot promise you anything. So that's super clear.
Mm.
Go there, they have all this type of experiences, and I hold them accountable. Okay, what are you gonna do with this? How you delivering results, and how you're seeing yourself progressing and evolving over time. So that's basically the conversation that I have with my directs, and how I ask them to have the same conversation with the rest of the team, so we can create this structure that everyone owns their career, right?
Mm.
And we have some possibilities to go across. And by the end of the year, my peers are gonna say, "Yeah, I love to recruit this person here. I love
Right.
this." Yeah,
Right.
great, mission accomplished. I create this environment.
And I would imagine you encourage other leaders around the organization to be doing the same thing, because if everybody is enabling and really developing their people, then that creates more opportunities for talent mobility and, of course, higher retention and engagement in the organization.
Absolutely, the same thing, and of course, and there are other leaders. They do this and more here across.
Hmm.
I know here at Expedia and other companies, but again, this is the two things, right? And that's an important question. One thing is how we set up this company to organize talent mobility, right? So process that will enable to do that. So we need to reduce bureaucracies. We need to simplify processes, etc. This is, I mean, it's not on the leader to do this. It's of HR and top leadership who designed that. But without this commitment for all the leaders to do this, that process will not work. You know what I mean? So it's a
Hmm.
combination of how we hardware and software. The
Yep.
software here is how we approach them. So that's my take on this, and how
Yeah.
we I see career progression.
Just a couple more quick questions, Fabio. What did you say? What would you say is the biggest challenge in talent development today?
Two things, right? One
Mhm.
is AI.
Mhm.
Whatever AI means to each one of our companies, it means that how we use that in learning development, meaning how we can be more productive with that and create real business case that we change the way that we work. Also, how we bring that to the business, right? So how we create learning experiences that will help people not just say, "Oh, I understand what you mean," but how they can use that as the AI first mentality. That's one thing that I've seen here, of course, Expedia, but all the in other companies, the real value that that L&D can bring to this conversation, right? The second one, and it's back to the entire conversation here, how we connect L&D with where L&D sits in your company and how you show up accordingly, right? It's
Mm.
L&D part of the business, so you have like this direct connection with business metrics, or are you a COE for HR? So if you're a COE for HR, make sure that you run an effective operating model, not competing with other of HR BPs, for instance, but helping them to help their clients to make things happen. So where you sit there. So you can go to Workday, to LinkedIn or other social media, and you have this. Oh, how we can measure our L&D success, or how you can measure our ROI. These type of things actually, they are connected to what's your strategy when you decide to have an L&D team in a company, and
Mm.
how is coordinated and connected to your business model. If you answer that question, it'll be easier for everyone in your team and across the company to understand how you can make things happen.
Makes sense. And then as far as trends are concerned, are there any big trends that you're following or excited about in talent development today?
AI, AI,
Yeah.
AI, AI is the thing, and how you organize things, how we provide, how people will search for their trainings, right?
Mhm.
Maybe not have like a disruption in our LMS. Do we need LMS,
Yeah.
or we go to AI and have a prompt here, and then you create and curate. Curation is important, right? The content internally that everyone will know what to do. Like, think about AI design your onboarding. The two of us, we start the same day for the same role, but we have different backgrounds. Maybe we need a different onboard experience, right? And imagine AI putting together all of this for us. So that's a big thing, a big trend tendency
Mm.
for the future.
Fabio, has there been a book or a TED talk or anything that has made a big impact or that you've read recently that is you like to recommend?
That's a great. I have one. I'm trying.
Sorry I didn't prepare you for that one.
I need to get the names there so you can cut this part.
Okay. All right.
It's about
It's got
communication.
it's got pages and there's words and
Yeah,
it's really
I got,
good.
yeah.
We'll
Uh,
find it. That's okay.
uh,
We can cut that out.
no,
If
that part.
I get asked that sometimes, and even though I read a lot of books, if I'm not prepared for that, I can't think of anything. I'm like I don't.
Exactly. You come. I will go to with this same old ones. I have some in AI again, but I don't
Yeah.
remember. It's there,
Yeah.
the articles and really really short stuff.
How about can I ask you in what way you're using AI or a tool or a resource that you okay. So I'm curious, Fabio, you mentioned AI. I'm curious in what ways you might be using AI, and also are there any tools or resources you're using today that make your job easier?
Right. We have the playground here at Expedia. So we have us now today we have 29 different models that we use. I go to the playground as I force myself to have this AI first approach. I use
Mm,
AI to talk, basically.
mm,
I have this project, it's coming. Oh, I have this meeting. Uh, this is brief, this is the context. Help me with some questions that I could
mm,
ask and things like that. So that's the
hmm.
way that I use AI as really a personal assistant. That's
Yeah,
my very first approach in the work that I do right now.
same. I used it to prepare for this interview. Last question for you, Fabio. You have done many things. You've worked in uh, GE many years ago, worked in your own consulting firm, have taken this role at Expedia. You've accomplished a lot, especially in the world of talent development. For those out there who work in talent development who are looking for ways to grow in their own careers, what's one more piece of advice you would give?
Client first mentality. It's,
Mm,
again, back, it's a full circle, right? It's not about you, it's about your clients. See every interaction that you have could be with your uh, participants in a workshop, could be someone that is your internal stakeholder, could be your manager. Think about them as a client. Think about their pain points. Think about what they are being asked for, and try to help them understand the problem. When the problem is there, if you can afford any type of contributions and solutions, do it, but
mm,
go through the full cycle. That's, I would say, that's the consulting skills behind our role, our job as L&D. And bonus with this approach is you can use this the same skill, you can transfer this skill to other competencies. So think about as L&D. Also, that's my challenge here. I challenge my team to think about, you are HR professional. So maybe you can go to other parts of HR, or maybe you can go to the business, right? Whatever the business is. But with the same mentality, you are preparing yourself to transfer all those things. That's
yeah.
that's that's my take here.
Makes sense. Good advice. Fabio, this has been great. I learned a lot and shared so many great things. I am excited to get this out into the world and looking forward to keeping in touch and talking more in the future. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Andy. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
All right, let me